What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video today on the channel. In today's video, I wanted to touch on something a little bit different from what I've been doing in my recent videos. I want to talk about one specific recruit, and the funny thing is this recruit has nothing to do with NC State, no connection to State. State has no chance of even landing him. But stick with me here, this should be really interesting. He's a 5-star recruit, and I want to break it down his recruitment and let you know my prediction of where I think he's headed. The recruit I'm talking about today is 5-star cornerback Tony Grimes. Grimes is a top-ranked corner on both Rivals.com and ESPN. ESPN has him ranked as the 6th best player in the country for 2021 class, and both ESPN and Rivals have him as the best player in the state of Virginia. While 247 has him just as a 4-star, he is a high-ranked, high-end 4-star at 20th in the country and the 2nd best corner as well. At 6'1", 180, Tony Grimes is a very athletic corner with great ball skills. He also has long arms, which really help him in coverage. He can run stride for stride with the fastest wide receivers, and it's no secret in why he's one of the top-ranked players in the country, with offers from pretty much every school around the country. Before Grimes cut his list of schools down to 8 in April, many feel like Virginia Tech or Georgia might be the landing spot. But when Grimes released his top 8, Virginia Tech did not make the list. Instead, UVA was the only in-state school to make the cut, along with Georgia, Clemson, Penn State, North Carolina, Texas A&M, Ohio State, and Tennessee. At that time, it was probably hard to tell who was the leader for Grimes. A lot of people would probably say Georgia was the leader, but over this past couple months, it's been North Carolina and Georgia that have separated themselves as the favorites for Grimes. At the end of May, Grimes did drop a top 4 schools list that included the heavy favorites UNC and Georgia, as well as Ohio State and Texas A&M. All along, Grimes was planning on announcing his commitment on December 1st, but due to everything going on in the world, and just probably want to get it over with at this point and get it out of the way, he kept his option open of committing earlier. And just last week, he announced that he will be committing on Tuesday, June 30th. So just a couple days from now, Tony Grimes will be committing, and it seems like UNC has been gaining some heavy momentum over the past couple weeks. And here's a clip from 247 Sports talking about his recruitment and breaking it down.
I think North Carolina has to be considered the favorite right now. I mean, and this is a national offer list, a national recruitment. This has been really the most highly recruited defensive back in the country, probably. And North Carolina, despite him being out of state, I mean, they've absolutely dominated any state in a really good year. This is a Virginia native and not a guy that would otherwise be inclined to go to North Carolina. I think you have to consider the Tar Heels the favorite here. Dre Bly, a former Tar Heel great at cornerback himself, has done an outstanding job in this recruitment.
You see right there at the end, he mentioned DB's coach for North Carolina, Dre Bly, who has built such a great relationship with Tony Grimes over his recruitment. And it also helps that UNC has brought in a top 5 recruiting class already, so there's trust there. What Mack Brown has been able to do, as much as the NC State fan hates to say it, Mack Brown is a great recruiter. It's obvious what he's been able to do in just 2 years back in North Carolina. And I'm sure a bunch of UNC coaches on the staff have reached out to Grimes and tried to help recruit him in, but none have been nowhere near as big as the impact that Dre Bly's had on the recruitment. And all the effort that Coach Bly and the UNC staff has put in on Grimes may very well pay off Tuesday when they have the chance to land one of their highest ranked recruits in school history. Things have been a little strange since Grimes announced he was committing on the 30th. The Rivals did break the story that he would be announcing earlier than expected. If you hear me mention Rivals or 247 Sports, for those that don't know, they are recruiting websites that have their own separate rankings, and they also have experts who can predict where they believe recruits will commit to. And on Rivals, the predictions are called Futurecast, and on 247, those picks are called Crystal Ball predictions. And I know I talk about those websites a lot, so I just want to clear that up for anybody who didn't know. All right, so anyway, back to Grimes. So it was Rivals' Adam Friedman that broke the news that Tony Grimes will be committing earlier than expected. And even before Grimes set his new commitment date, both Rivals and 247 recruiting experts were starting to put predictions in for Grimes to pick UNC. When Rivals broke the news that Tony Grimes would be announcing earlier than expected, there were multiple predictions put in, or Futurecast put in, on Rivals.com for Georgia to be the landing spot for Grimes, including analysts who broke the story, Adam Friedman, who has been in close contact with Grimes throughout his recruitment and has had multiple interviews with him. And this is what Rivals looked like, their Futurecast, a couple of hours after Grimes announced he'd be committing on June 30th. You see 63% Futurecast prediction for Georgia. And this caught a lot of people's attention because if you look over on 247, you see a totally different story. You see nearly 86% of the predictions to North Carolina for Tony Grimes, including Steve Wiltfong, who was the National Director of Recruiting for 247. He is nearly never wrong. And I believe Wiltfong has gotten 281 out of the 283 predictions right so far for the 2021 recruits. So you can see why when he puts his prediction in, people listen. And he also did put one in for Tony Grimes while Rivals was putting in predictions for Georgia. So it made people wonder who has the right information. Is it Steve Wilfong of 247, or is it the guys over at Rivals who broke the story and have been following Grimes' recruitment so closely? And I checked both websites for a couple of days, and I continue to see Georgia predictions on Rivals and UNC predictions on 247. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I check and I see Rivals has flipped the majority of their predictions to UNC, including Adam Friedman, who was the first one to put, or one of the first ones to put in a prediction for Georgia when the news broke. And now UNC sits at 90% here on Rivals. And then you flip over to 247 Sports and you see every prediction put in, all 100% North Carolina. And this did get a lot of people thinking, including myself, that Rivals just do this to get clicks and get people to visit their website, because I know they definitely got me to visit it more than a few times over the past few days. So you guys let me know in the comments what you think. Rivals.com have put out some early information just to get a few more people to click on our website and check it out before they changed all their picks over to UNC. So I just find it so strange how all of a sudden that their Georgia picks turned into UNC picks. So it's just instantly. I don't know, maybe they got some extra information all of a sudden. But for me personally, I believe that Grimes will be committing to North Carolina on Tuesday. I know Georgia fans are starting to feel the same way, but they do feel very confident that they could potentially flip him before signing day and get him back. If they can get him back on campus, who knows when that will be, if that'll even be possible. But they feel like if they can get him back on campus, they can definitely have a chance to flip him. I know it's going to be hard with that connection that Grimes has built with North Carolina and Coach Trey Bly. But I don't believe it's impossible for Georgia to flip him. And now, as much as I hate to say it, I do believe Tony Grimes will be a Tar Heel. And I believe he'll be an instant impact player. And anywhere he goes, really, he'll be an instant impact player. I just hate that he'll probably be facing my NC State Wolfpack for 3 or 4 years. But I guess it is what it is. And leave your thoughts down below in the comments where you think Tony's headed. And also on the rival situation, you think they could have been using this for clicks. And also, if you do use recruiting websites, which one do you like using the most? I think for me personally, I probably use 247 Sports the most. But they're all great websites to use. They all offer great information. I think that'll do it for this video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you hit that like button for me as well as that sub button. As we continue to grow this channel, I appreciate all the support so far. And as always, thank you for watching, and go Pack.